Hi, everybody. It is Kendéll Lenice, and welcome to Kendéll Lenice Live right here on YouTube. Before you go any further, do me a favor and subscribe below. It's so important that you do that, so when great content is uploaded, you will be the first to know. And don't forget to hit that notification button. All right, so today I am pleased to have my amazing guest with me. Her name is Arika Kane. This is my sister from another mister. I love her like she's my sister. We connected over a decade ago on Twitter, and I'm stuck with her for life, and she's stuck with me for life. She's an amazing soul. You guys know on this show, I like to burst myths. I like to show Black folks in a different light so you can see us as multi-layered, so you can understand us a little better outside of possibly social media or reality shows or different things like that. So one of the myths is Black folks and white folks can't be friends. Yes, in 2020, people still think that, or all white folks are bad, or all Black people, and all of that foolishness. But she is my sister, and she happens to be a white girl. And I'm saying that for that reason alone about breaking myths. You can still love someone no matter what color they are. So her name is Arika Kane, and before we get started, I am going to read her bio. So this is the thing about Arika. You might have heard of her before you actually knew it was her. So if you listen or watch reality shows or listen to the radio, I'm sure you've heard of her before. All right, so let me read her bio, and then she's going to come right on. So in 2000, let me make sure. All right, so Arika Kane's self-titled debut album was released on February 23rd, 2010. The album set digital sales records and spawned 3 singles: Because I Love You, For the Lovers, and Here With Me. The lead single, Because I Love You, peaked at number 39 on the U.S. Billboard Hot Adult R&B airplay charts. The sophomore single, For the Lovers, charted at number 7 on the single sales chart, number 19 on the R&B airplay chart, and at number 80 on the Billboard's Hot 100. Here With Me, which is my jam still forever, the third single also charted at number 4 on the single sales charts, number 14 on the R&B airplay, and number 67 on the Hot 100s. The song was placed as a feature on the first single of VH1's Love and Hip Hop. That was the first time I heard the song. Kane was the only female artist to appear alongside Babyface, Charlie Wilson, and Maze featuring Frankie Beverly at the DeSoto Civic Center in Augusta, Georgia in 2009. Throughout 2010, VH1 and MTV placed 6 songs from Arika Kane's debut album on Love and Hip Hop, What Chili Wants, Single Ladies, Disaster Date, and Basketball Wives. In 2010, the UAC media-based charts named Arika Kane and BSE Recordings the #1 independent artist and label in the country for 20 straight weeks. In late 2011, Kane began recording her second album, Substance. So this is just the beginning. She's still working, but before we get into all of that, I want to introduce to you all Arika Kane, my sister.
Hey, my love.
I'm so happy that you're here, Arika. I really, really am. I'm thrilled.
I'm happy to be here.
So as my audience knows, again, I like bursting myths, but most importantly, I like spotlighting people. Yes, you are a great singer and songwriter and producer, and everybody's on here with their expertise and titles, but I like to spotlight beautiful people and beautiful souls and beautiful spirits. And you really have that light. You really are a beautiful spirit, and your energy is pure. And I love that about you.
Thank you, love, so much. And so is yours.
Thank you. And before we get started, I want to make sure your mom is good. And I want to say hi to your mom, because one awesome chick made another awesome chick. And I know that you get all of that from your mom. So I just want to shout out her mom and just really make sure your mom's okay.
Thank you so much. Yes, she is a brave warrior woman. She's been through a lot. She just had open heart surgery. Her mother just passed, so she's just dealing with a lot. And yes, I get it. I get it all from her.
I know. So I hope to meet her one day, and we all can connect. I really do. I'm looking forward to that.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
And like I said, I connected with Arika about 10 years ago or more on Twitter. I love her music. I always tell people about Arika, even back then, and just how beautiful she is. Not only looking, because she looks marvelous today, but just her insides. And I think that that's so important. So I've been rooting for Arika for many years and telling people about Arika, even to the point where her people reached out and said, hey, do you want to be an ambassador in Maryland for Arika Kane? Because I ride for you, girl.
I know you do, and I'm so thankful. You have no idea the impact you've had on my career, actually, because I been through a lot in this business, and being a female and independent artist, just to have somebody like really inspire and encourage me the way you always have is like such a blessing. So I just want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure. And it's sincerely, from the heart. And I know that you work from that heart space too. And saying that and just talking about your supporters, your fans, go hard for you. They love themselves some Arika Kane. How does that make you feel that, outside of moi, you still have like so many amazing people, in your corner? What's that feel like?
It's such a blessing. It's such a blessing because, people not everybody, but, some people feel that, the entertainment business is like this beautiful life, and, you're living the life, you're living the dream. And, there's so many obstacles, and there's there's actually a lot of darkness in any business, actually, but the music business isn't what everybody thinks it is. And the people you have to deal with, when you get into certain levels, I've learned the hard way, you can't trust anybody.
Yeah.
And so just having like that genuine, consistent support and like consistent encouragement it literally has kept me going, and it's kept me like in my purpose. Like, okay, it's confirmation. Like, okay, I am doing what I'm supposed to do. I am, doing what I'm here for, my purpose. And so that's how much of a blessing it is. It literally confirms that I am doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And how important is you to do it with integrity and do it with grace and doing it with just your good vibrations and being a good person? How important is that in this treacherous business?
Yeah. Well, it's everything. And it's, it's my main goal to do that, because I feel like I want to inspire young women to also know that they can do it and keep their integrity and keep their values and still be successful. A lot of my fans actually don't know, but I turned down a lot of opportunities, a lot of money, major record deals, millions and millions and millions of dollars. I've turned down so many things because I would have had to compromise my integrity and who I am as a person and my peace. And I wasn't willing to do that. And, because I don't speak on it that much because I don't feel I am going to write a book one day.
Yeah. But, I'm sure you got stories, girl.
Oh, I got stories. But my main goal is to show younger women and just youth in general who want to be artists that you can keep your integrity and still be successful and still accomplish what you want and be happy at the end of it.
That part. And I think that's so important, because integrity, you know, in a business of entertainment, in the music business, everyone's heard the stories. Arika Kane has probably seen and witnessed it. But to keep your character in check and keep that integral part of you is so important to do that. And let's keep it real. So many people don't. Integrity goes out the window. Like you said, you could have made millions of dollars, but you kept that core. That has to be, as we talked about your mom earlier, that has to be embedded in your upbringing. You know, something, you know, that has to be, because you're a whole person. How important was your family in that choosing, if you will, in the different things that you would or would not do within the music industry?
Extremely important, and I'm so grateful for it. I grew up in a very humble environment, a very humble family, and you know, my parents didn't have much when we were little. I think, you know, our vacations were like, you know, going camping here and there, you know, like my parents really made lemonade out of lemons. You know, they really, they really showed us the value of being happy, but still, you know, honoring who you are and not selling out and not doing things that are against your values just to, you know, make more money or just to, you know, live the life and all that. So I'm very blessed to have had the upbringing that I've had. Yeah,
and it shows, you know, I know you were raised in Connecticut, and just getting into the music industry must have been overwhelming. What was that like? It's just so many questions that I have for you. So let's just talk about this. So being a white girl singing R&B music, was that challenging for you? Not for you to sing it, but the feedback that you were getting as you were a white girl. Because for some reason, people think Tina Marie was the only one that got the pass. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, not Tina Marie. Is, you know, like she was the only one. Even though like the way your hair is, you remind me of old Tina, not because of the color, but something about your face structure and how your hair is. It reminds me of Tina Marie back in the 80s. Yes, I'm old enough to remember when she looked like that. But
yeah, that's
but
funny.
She's, for some reason, people think that she gets the pass, but not others. Have you had experience in this music industry being a white woman singing R&B music?
Yes. I didn't face anything really until I got into the music business on a larger scale. I found it very interesting, the difference between my fans and supporters and the people in the music business. So what I ran into was, you know, when my music was on Billboard and my first album came out, you know, I had such amazing support from all nationalities. My fan base is comes from all cultures, and it's so beautiful. And all of a sudden, you know, people in the business were shutting me out and, you know, not allowing me on certain platforms, not playing my music on certain radio stations, you know, didn't want me in magazines. And a lot of people in the business were like, well, I don't know what she thinks she's doing, but she needs to just do like Britney Spears type music and pop music and just call it a day. She needs to stay out of our lane, out of our realm. And so I got a lot of that. And also there were a lot of people in the business upset that I was doing R&B music. And I had ran into a podcast that was talking about white artists singing R&B. And specifically, they were talking about me and had said, you know.
So they mentioned you by name.
Oh, yeah. And they labeled me as, you know, I'm a danger to Black music. And that, I would say that was at first when I was hearing this stuff, like people not, wanting me on their platforms, I was like, okay. And then, when I literally heard a panel of people in the music business saying, Arika Kane is a danger to Black music, it literally broke my heart, because that's not any of my intentions. Everything I do comes from my heart. I just want to spread love and spread, healing energy. And, I want to express myself to the truest form. And I just happen to really love R&B music. And I'm a soulful person in general. So that was the point, I would say, that it really was discouraging. But the blessing is that all my music supporters and my fans absolutely embrace me, and they know that I'm genuine, and they're from all nationalities. So it keeps me in perspective, like what I was saying before about how amazing my supporters are. It keeps me knowing, like, okay, I am doing the right thing. I am, everything is okay.
And look, and you can sing, and your voice is really angelic and soft and delicate, like the texture and the tone of your voice. You already know my household rocks with Arika Kane. You already know. I mean, videos of my daughter, they'll be like, Mom, your girl is on, like, that's right.
Yes.
Because your voice. We love you when your songs come on, still. And we just have, you and I just have a special sisterhood, a connection that, is undeniable and is unwavering. I'm going to rock with you for forever. I just am, because I like you, in that simple context. I like you as a person. And then your music reflects who you are, you know? So when you think about R&B, and you just like R&B music, you just happen to be white, who are some of the people that you grew up listening to?
Oh, wow. Well, I would say Aaliyah is a big one. I just love how she was so genuine in who she was. She was such a gem, she just, her essence and her soul, literally you could feel it. And I really vibed with her growing up. I mean, Lauryn Hill, Alicia Keys, Mary J. Blige, the greats, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey. And then I really enjoyed the groups, in the 90s.
Yes.
Yes.
Those were some of the best.
Yes, the best ever. It's Escape, SWV. Drew Hill is one of my all-time favorite groups. Jagged Edge.
Yes.
So you should see my R&B.
Girl, you got some good taste in music.
Yes, thank you. You should see my R&B Spotify playlist. It is 500 songs, all the greats, all the classics. It's just, that's what I love the most. Yeah.
And you need to throw you in there too, in that playlist, because you got, like they say, you got some bangers now. You do. You got some good hits. But I love all your songs, but you already know my favorite is Here With Me. Like, that's just because the way your voice just rides on that song. It's just so, and the video was hot too. I remember the video. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember it. So that goes to show. I think you had a guy in there with locks, didn't you? From what I remember. I have not seen that in years. But like we were talking about Love and Hip Hop New York. And that was the first one that kicked it off many moons ago. And that was actually the first time I heard your song. I think it was, now I'm really testing my memory because I didn't rehearse this. I think it was was Samaya in that?
Yep.
Well, okay.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, it was the scene with Samaya.
Okay, so
and her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend. It was a love scene, and it was like the perfect moment, the perfect, time for that song to play.
And I remember that, and it's so crazy because I haven't seen a repeat. I haven't, but I just remember that, and I remember like who was singing this song, the way the mood was set. Your voice was riding over. It's just so sweet. So I looked it up and I saw you, but and I saw that it was you. But the first time I ever saw you, and I'm taking it back, and I'm doing this by memory. I didn't write anything down because I like to have organic conversations.
You're doing good so far.
That means I really like you. But you were on. You're gonna be like, what? You were on Monique's talk show on BET.
Yep.
And I remember seeing you in that way, not just hearing you and seeing a video, but your spirit and your heart. I was like, okay, she's pretty dope. And I really connected in that way because, sometimes you'll see an artist or a celebrity or whoever you want to, call whoever's doing what on a talk show. And like the first 2 minutes, you're like, ew. Their spirit, their personality, but you were just so gracious and so chill. That's what I remember. Like you were just sitting there like, yes, I do this every day.
Yes.
You were just so sweet. Do you remember that time when you were on there?
Yes, I do. And Monique is the bomb. I mean, she was so sweet to me and so inspiring. And when there were like commercial breaks, she would like encourage me. Like she would give me encouraging advice. And
wow.
Yeah, she was amazing. And I was starting to really, go through a lot of obstacles in the business, as soon as I got into it. So I was kind of ready for anything, because sometimes when you go on shows, you never know, like, especially if you're a new artist, right?
Yeah.
Like people test you, and people like, they want to see what they can pull out of you and stuff like that. So yeah. I was really kind of like just ready for it. So I knew how, like at that point, I knew how to, compose myself, but still put out my vibe and my essence and my energy. So, I hope it came across. Okay, good.
You did. So, but look, after this, I think I'm going to see if it's on YouTube or somewhere, because literally I'm just doing this by memory. I haven't seen any of this footage in years. But I just remember you being chill. I just remember that.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned that because I was dealing with, so in the beginning of my career, I had a lot of people surrounding me, right? Like the team just grew bigger and bigger. We were just hiring, publicists, stylists, the team just grew big, and everybody was telling me like who I need to be, what I need to say, how I need to act, what I need to look like. And I was like really rebellious, like, what's wrong with me just being me? Like it was a big struggle. And but then I realized everybody had their own agendas of what they wanted to get from me. So I stayed true to who I was, and it bothered people. Like it bothered everyone. And slowly, slowly it was almost like I woke up one day and I was like, oh my God, I'm surrounded by vultures, because everybody was like, you got to do this more. You got to say that. You got to act. And I'm just like, well, no matter what, I'm going to do me. So I don't know what to tell you. And eventually, like, they, faded away. And now I'm at the point in my career where my circle is so tight and so strong. And, the people who, it's almost like I created that for myself. Like like anybody who has like really bad intentions or agendas, they don't even like come in my space now. So
that's good.
That's why I was so chill, because I was in the place where I was like, I'm not going to be like this dramatic, person, and wear whatever he wants me to wear. Like, I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be me.
And you didn't come. This is what I took from it. You didn't come having something to prove or to show that I'm down and I sing R&B music and I'm all that. And it didn't seem like you had anything to prove, and it showed.
Exactly, because it comes from my heart. It's what I do is literally who I am, and I feel like you can tell when people are that way that they don't have to go the extra mile to prove themselves. So definitely.
Yeah, and you keep saying from my heart, and I know that was one of your albums, right?
Live from your heart. Live from your heart is actually my favorite song I've ever written, and that's from my Through the Veil album. Yes.
Because I keep hearing that, I'm like, you keep saying from my heart, and I'm like, live from your heart. Again, I have no notes, people, so I'm just having a conversation with my girl here. So was Monique one of your first like major television moments to be on that show? Yeah,
it was.
Wow.
It was.
Mm-hmm. And that was on BET, and that was national exposure. And you found fit to be nobody but you. I love that. Not pretentious. You just came and you did it. It made an impact. It really did. And I can imagine that the powers that be and people that want to be the puppeteers in the industry telling you how you should dress, how your hair should look, what you should say, that I think that that's pretty ballsy, that in the beginning of your career, you decided to do it your way. That says a lot about you.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. I was given a hard time for a long time, but it's almost like those who are in my circle now, like, really respect me because, that's what I've chosen to do.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you.
Thank
coming
you.
out artist, unapologetically you. That's so important. And like we talked about earlier, so many people are influenced by the dollar bills and by fame. And now, come on, 15 minutes of fame, with social media and being on there, people are living for that. So to really walk in your truth at that young age in the beginning of your career, I think that's pretty dope. It really is.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So how did I have something that I want to share with you, but before I do, it'll fall in line with this. But how did your music appear on VH1? They must have fell in love with you and said, okay, this song. Like, how did that come about?
Literally, God.
Right.
Because it wasn't like we were pushing the music there or pitching the music there. We literally got a phone call from the creative department that said, we really want to use Arika Kane's library for, some of our shows. And we were like, please do, and then not too long after the Love and Hip Hop appearance of my music, they decided to use my song Make It from my very first album as the theme song for Hollywood Exes.
Okay, so let me pause you right there. I'm glad that you led into it. This is all natural, but you led into it. Okay, so Make It Happen. That's like my theme song, okay? Mm-hmm. That song is so inspirational and it's so inspiring for women. But not just that. So Hollywood Exes, when it first came out in whatever, was it 2000 something? That was my show. So I already was, you were already my girl by then, listening to that. And I was just like, when it first came on, I was like, I know that voice. And then when I heard it, and then every show in the beginning, obviously it's the intro, they played it. So that was back then. So everybody that watches my channel knows that for 12 years, I had locks down to my butt. And on my birthday, this past June 17th, I revealed it and I cut my locks. I just put in some twists now, but I cut my locks. So why Arika is significant again for that show, you were a part of this, you don't even know. So while I was cutting out my locks and going through that transition, I was watching again Hollywood Exes.
Oh
So
my
each
God.
time, and that kind of got me through it. Each time, you know how it says skip intro, if you could do that. I was like, nope, I want to hear my girl. And you were doing it, and I was taking out my locks, and, you know, after 12 years shedding that. So you were a part of that, girl.
Oh my God. That's dope. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And literally the whole season, I watched it while I was doing that. Because I was cutting them and then combing some out and just, you know, just going through my little transition of release and energy and all of that. And I watched the whole season, and each time in the beginning, I was like, okay, here's my girl, let me come on. And then, so that's what I was doing in June to your voice.
Wow. Oh my God. Well, I'm grateful I could be part of that process. That's so cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So my daughter, you know, both my daughters love you. My youngest daughter was there most of the time towards the end when I was doing it. And she was like, I know you don't want to skip the intro. And I'm like, nope. So we're singing the theme and we're just, you know, grooving. And that was like I guess a rebirth, if you will, because I watched it years ago and then
Yep.
I'm going to do this. So what is that like when you're watching a show? And you hear your voice and you hear your lyrics and you just hear that whole vibe of the show, and now you're leading into that show. How does that feel?
Amazing. Sometimes I would, pre-record it and like get ready for it. And then other times I wouldn't even know that it was coming on. And, I just had the TV on VH1 and all of a sudden I hear it and I'm like, ooh, like I get like, the chills a little bit, because it's almost like, have you ever heard the term God wink?
No.
Okay, well, it's like synchronicities in life where like, that, things are in alignment, or,
Like,
and anyways, it
like that confirmation in life that everything is in line and how it's supposed to be.
Yes. Or even like a gift, like for example, when my mother was in surgery, I put out a post on Facebook for, asking for prayers, and literally like 500 people with the most beautiful prayers. And I was so stressed. I was going through so much, and, everything's crazy in the world. And sometimes you get to a point where you just don't think like humanity, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh my God. And literally like the most loving prayers from everyone I've ever known, everyone my mother's ever known. And I was just looking at, and I cried. I'm like, oh my God, it was such like it was a gift.
Yeah.
It was a gift. And it restored my faith and humanity and in the world. But anyways, to correlate it with that, it was that type of feeling, like, oh my God, like I am in alignment with what I'm supposed to do, and I am being heard. And, there is a platform that is in alignment with the message that I'm putting out there.
Yeah, it really is. And, for them to choose you when they could have chosen anyone, to anyone's music. And I thought it was pretty awesome that they chose music from your albums that you already had. So saying that, not that you need to know from them that you're worthy and that your music is good, but something that you created from your heart, as you say, for them to say, you know what, I don't want anybody to write a song. This music is worthy of this intro. I think that's pretty awesome. And for those that are just maybe tuning in, or, someone is showing you this right now, we're talking about, this is Arika Kane, recording artist, and we're talking about some of your favorite shows on VH1, like Love and Hip Hop, Basketball Wives, Single Ladies, Hollywood Exes, Atlanta Exes, so many different shows that she disaster date that Arika Kane's music was featured in. So this is the thing. When somebody is featuring your music, they have to get the rights from the person's music it is. But just probably, I think it went beyond the music, and it went into the person you are, because nobody's going to want the music of somebody that's nasty or rude or, you know, hard to deal with in business for their music, no matter how much they like it. So that must have been an easy process for them to choose you. Was it easy the other way, to give up your music, not to just be seen or heard, but to give up your music other than what you thought it would be for?
Yeah. It was easy. It was smooth. It was smooth sailing. It was easy.
I'm sure
you know,
it came with a check. I'm sure it came with a check.
Oh yes, yes, yes. And the good thing, it wasn't like an exclusive. It wasn't an exclusive license where like my music was only for that. So, you know, my library was still open to other shows and other situations. So it was a blessing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But that right there, that part, that is like the icing on the cake, that you didn't have to give up your rights and you can use it any way you want it in addition to that.
Yes, it was like an all across the board gift.
That is a gift. Now that is a serious blessing right there. So I know you have so much music out. You know, I'll put up some stuff riding in the car to, you know, some of your remake. Which remake do you think I'm talking about?
Love Makes a Woman.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you something. You told me that was a remake. I had no idea, because your voice was perfect on it. And it sounded like a retro song. It sounded like an older song. But not to say that you can't do that today. And your voice was perfect for that song. And then once you put that out, I went back to look and listen to the old song. Why did you choose to remake that song?
Oh my goodness. Well, I would hear on Sirius XM, there's a station that has like older, you know, like Motown type, you know, 60s music.
Was it called Soul Town or something like that?
Yeah. And I kept hearing that song, and I'm like, I love this song. Why haven't I known about this record? Because I'm a student of music too, and I know a lot of music that was very popular way before my time, because it's important to me to know, you know. And the fact that I heard it for the first time and it came out in the 60s, and I'm just like, I love this song. What, you know, why did I never know about it? And it's about women, you know, and it's such a good message. And I just kept hearing it. So I felt like it was another sign. It was another like, well, if you don't think it got enough attention, why don't you do it? You know?
Yeah.
And I was like, ding, 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 like all the lights went off. So it was originally done in 1968 by Barbara Acklin. And because it wasn't a Motown, it was, the other label. I can't think of it. Anyways, it's in my posts of the song. Huh?
Was it Chess? No.
No. Anyways, it's in all my tags. And so they were sort of a competitor with Motown. And, you know, Motown was just like killing it back then. Yeah. So they kind of took up most of the air in the room. So that's why this song didn't get as much love. Yeah. So that's kind of why I wanted to do it, because it was right up my alley. It was soulful. It was fun. It was about, you know, who women are. And I was like, this song needs love, and I'm doing it. And what I like to do with my covers, with my remakes, is I really study the energy and intention of the original version. Like, I really connected with Barbara Acklin, because I want to, like, I always do covers with, you know, honor and respect. So I want to keep the original essence of the song, but still put, you know, my vibe on it and my energy on it. So
you did an amazing job. You did
Thank
an amazing
you.
job. And you introduced me to that song, and I'm a lover of music. I write lyrics. I write songs, but I don't sing them. I'm a lover of music in the lyrics and in the message and all of that. And you introduced me to that song with your voice. You did it. I mean, it was great. And then when I went back to listen to the old one, I was like, I can see. You said you kept the same kind of vibe. And you also did that with Miss Faith Evans, honey.
Thank you.
Who remakes a Faith Evans song? Because that voice right there. But you did I Love You, and it's beautiful. Again, what made you decide to sing that one?
Well, I'm in the process of actually, this is the first time I'm saying this, so this is good. I'm actually been in the process. Yeah, breaking news.
Right.
I'm in the process of doing a cover album. So I have, of like classics. And I have, my list is so long. I still don't know how to like minimize it because there's just so many songs I want to cover. And that just happened, to be one of them. And I'm still in the process of also doing an original album. So I'm in the middle of a few different projects, but I wanted to put something out. And Faith Evans obviously is an R&B icon. She's amazing. And that song was always my favorite song by her. And it really fit my voice, and it fit my sound. And it was like, just so easy for me to connect with. And my publicist agreed. He was like, oh my God, this would be amazing if you covered this. I don't think anybody has ever covered that one. So I went along and did it, and it was amazing. And then we have a remix with the other artists on my label, T-Bars. So we put a little extra vibe. So there's a remix of it out there, which is really cool. But yeah, that's why I did it, because I'm in the making of a lot of cover music. So
when I saw that you were doing that, I was like, it makes sense. Because before I even heard it, when you were advertising it, before we got a chance to hear it, and I can hear your voice and I can hear the song, and I was like, that's perfect. That was perfect. And you didn't try, how some people try to do the remake and they're doing all of these riffs and all this extra stuff. It's like, you don't need all that.
I know.
You kept it simple, and it's so melodic because Faith used her softer, sweet tempo, on that song. And your voice is already that way. It was, sometimes you say, okay, they could have left that alone. They didn't have to remake that. But you did it justice. You did it justice.
Thank you, my love.
You really did. You really did. So when I think about you and I think about, all the things that you're doing, I'm just so pleased and proud to know you and know where it's coming from. And of course, as we said multiple times, it's coming from a great place. I'm going to go back just a little bit. We have some more time, but I want to go back just a little bit. How old were you when you started singing and when you knew that you had this gift to give to the world?
I was about 10 years old, and I remember Mariah Carey, when she was in her first or second album, maybe, I was just like blown away by her voice, and I would sing along with it, in the car.
Wait, first you just made me feel old when you said you were 10 when Mariah Carey came out.
Well, I don't know if she came out around then, but it was in the beginning. It was in the beginning.
Because I was like, oh, I think I was in high school. Like, I'm thinking I'm a year younger than Mariah, so that's all I'm going to say.
No.
But continue.
Yeah, so I remember I would go outside, like if I just wanted to like really sing, and like I wasn't really sure of my talent at that point, but I knew something was there. I would literally go out like into the woods in like my own little space and just like sing my heart out. And that's when I would do those things, you know, I would kind of tap into it and be like, oh, well, I can kind of do this, you know, like it was like I was discovering myself out in nature.
That's good. That's
And
good.
yeah, because I wasn't really ready for everybody to hear it. Like even my family, you know, I was just like, I gotta tap into what's going on here. And so, yeah, I was about 10. And then in middle school, I started, in junior high, I started joining the choir. And then I slowly would do, you know, solos. And then I would do the talent shows. And it was like, you know, I was like slowly stepping into it. And then when my parents, because my parents are singers and musicians, and when they, you know, they were so ecstatic when I decided, when I decided to really jump into it. Yeah.
So who was that one person that said, I'm going to make her a star? She's a star. She needs to get this music out. That person that quote unquote discovered you.
Oh boy. Well, I would say my label, when I first connected with my label, and my manager, Lewis Humphrey, he's also an amazing producer. He's the one who like hardcore believed in me and like saw the vision and knew and like just felt like we've been through so much together. We actually started the label together. I signed to my label BSE Recordings when it was in its beginning stages. So we literally learned the music business together. And so many people would try to break me from the label because they wanted me for their, you know, company. And so they would, you know, try to discourage him from me, like, oh, she's not a star, she's not that talented, you know, wow, what are you doing signing her and this and that? And he would always get baffled. And, you know, my intuition is very strong. I'm like, they're trying to break the situation up. So, you know, that's what happens in the business. People try to sabotage everything. But he was like, you know, stood in his knowing that like, no, like I believe in this girl and I'm not falling for any of these shenanigans.
Good for him.
Yes. So he's the one for sure.
Well, Common said it don't take a whole day to recognize sunshine, right? Didn't he say that?
I like that. Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't. You know, you see, you know, and I'm glad that he's stuck to it and decided to say, you know what, this is her. She's the one. And it sounds like not only was he just trying to have a cash cow, but he believed in you. And I think that's so important for someone in the industry like this to really to believe in you and say, you know what, but is it important for you, and why is it important for you, if it is, to stay independent?
Yes, it is important to me because I've been introduced to, like I was saying before, other opportunities, major label offers, and, you know, I've seen the other side, as you know, as you may say, and I know what it's all about, and I know what it's designed for, and it's not, there's no freedom. There's no freedom from a creative standpoint, from an emotional, mental standpoint, even your image. And a side note, as I was saying, people were trying to come in and sabotage the, you know, me and my label. There were two parts to that. There was, they wanted to separate the independent label and try to get me into like a major label or other companies. But once I said no to a lot of these major opportunities, and I said no to compromising who I am in many different aspects, we literally, this is how dirty the business is. So I'm just going to put it out there. We literally,
go on.
Yes, thank you. We literally had people planted in our circle that we hired, that wanted to be hired, like publicists, for example, who literally tried to sabotage my career because I said no to all of those things.
I believe it. Oh, I believe it.
It's crazy. And it was more
want what they want, and they're going to do anything to get it. And if you don't follow suit with that, then I definitely believe that's the next step.
Yep.
For slimy folks trying to get that, get that dollar. That's really what it's about. They see that this talent, this beautiful woman, and she's a white girl and sings R&B, and they try to, maybe a gimmick, and not really see you for who you are and what you have to bring to the table musically. I think people are just trying to get that buck, and not to say, of course, that you're not talented, but when people see something that they want, that's what happens. And I'm so glad that you, just as a young woman, in this game, I'm just so impressed with that, sincerely, that you kind of stood your ground. That's unheard of, because people are dropping it like it's hot and dropping everything else for like a quick $1 and 15 minutes of fame. Yep. So for you to have that character and that integrity about you as a young woman in the game, girl, you were already winning with that.
Thank you. And I see that now. It took a long time because I felt like I was losing for so long because, like I said, once I was saying no to a lot of things that weren't in alignment with me, it was like, here came the disparaging and like, let's put her down and like, let's do everything we can to like break her down. And so there was a lot of discouraging times, but I've come full circle and I see now actually how protected I was and how, how it may have seemed one way, but really I was like living my truth. And it's all beautiful now. I can see the other side.
Yeah. No, but that is beautiful, because so many people discover when they're 50 years old, and as a life coach, I see it. They discover their truths at 50, or they feel like they can now live and be true to who they are authentically when they're 50 years old. Not to say that that's too late, because it's not, but I'm just impressed that as a young woman in this game that you held on to what you believed what was right, and also having a tight circle and having the people that believed in you and also protected you. I think that as a woman in the business, because we know, and I keep saying woman in the business because we know that it's different for men in the business. When women are in the music business, people aren't taking you too seriously because they're trying to hit on you. They're trying to see if they can sleep with you. They're trying to do all of that. Did you have all of that going on too?
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding? That's a whole nother different level. This is what I'm saying. I'm writing a book.
I can't wait. So you definitely got to come back.
Yeah, that was a whole nother different level. I mean, I would go on promo tours and, be on radio stations. And because I wouldn't sleep with the DJ at the club that night, when I made the appearance at the club, all of a sudden they wouldn't play the interview. That like all my work was for nothing. And I even had radio stations blacklist me because I wouldn't sleep with the program directors.
I believe it. So not only were they blacklisting you because you were a white girl singing R&B music, and now you have the program director saying don't play her music because she didn't give me any. Like, that's already trying to set you up. But look at you. You still rose, like you have risen, and I think that that's so important and such a valuable lesson for young girls out there trying to make it and trying to get in the business, even the old gals trying to make it, yes. To have some integrity to you, and integrity goes a long, long way. So I just find it interesting that every which way somebody was trying to stop you, but God said, nope, she's still going to rise, and I'm still going to, give her this gift. And I think that that's so important. And I'm definitely going to buy the book because I know it's some tea in there. Some truth.
Oh yeah, those tidbits are only like not even a third of it, but yes. Thank you, love.
I
Thank
believe
you.
You're welcome. So I have to address the elephant in the room. Your name is Arika Kane with an A, not an E. But all my children fans, and they know Arika Kane. Did you get your name? Was it a spinoff of that? What made you use Arika Kane? And if that's your real name?
Okay.
Because people were like, is that her real name, or did she just a spinoff?
Right. So, okay, so the Kane is not my real name, but the Arika with the A is. And my mother decided to name me Arika with the A because if you speak to her, she will say, well, I knew you were going to be special. So I was like, okay. And so, but the actual part that I didn't like growing up was because it's Arika. Some people don't think of like Arika. People Arika my whole life, like in school, like teachers, when they're taking attendance, and it got to the point where I didn't even raise my hand, because if you said Arika, I was like, I don't know who that is, and I would just sit there. Like, I got so frustrated. But I've learned to love it, and it's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And the Kane came, the Kane became a nickname. A lot of people I started working with in the business, like producers, they would just be like, oh, Arika Kane's in the building. Oh, how you doing, Arika Kane? And like, it literally became like, I didn't even choose it. Like, people just started giving me that nickname, and people started to know me as that. So I kind of just rolled with it. So that's how that happened.
So I'm going to ask you this question. I'm sitting here like, should I ask her this question? Because I don't want to be stereotypical, but I'm picturing you. And it sounds and somebody's going to be like, oh, well, why is she doing that? Since we spoke about her earlier, did you like Tina Marie's music? And if they did a biopic, would you be interested in doing that?
Yeah, I think her music is timeless and classic. And I think she was extremely talented. And hell yeah, I would. I would love it. I mean, without question. Without question.
Absolutely. And I don't want to ask the question like, okay, she's, to try to do that. I didn't want to be too cheesy with that. But since I mentioned her earlier, talking about that. And there's a thing, if you don't know, some people of certain ages know that there's something called blue eye soul music. And it's a lot of white artists singing R&B music or soulful music. And throughout, I'm thinking about me growing up in the 80s. Like, I never thought about it being white music, sincerely. Like, when I listened to Hall & Oates, when I listened to Simply Red, when I listened to, what is that, Never Gonna Give You Up, Arrington, what's his name?
Yeah.
Remember that song? And Taylor Dane.
Yes.
Thinking about all of Madonna, like, I grew up in the 80s, so Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, like, I never thought about, even though Cyndi Lauper and Madonna sang pop music, but all of the other artists, and I can go on and on and on with the different, Lisa Stansfield, and I know with her, they didn't want to put her picture on the cover. So they used to do it with Black folks back in the day with Motown, like, they didn't want to, with some artists, they didn't want to put a Black person on there because white folks wouldn't have purchased it. And even I know with Lisa Stansfield, I remember an article that she had out back then saying that they didn't even want her on the cover because they didn't want people not to buy it. So when you think about that, and you think about just, I'm singing music that I love, I'm singing music that I listened to growing up, and I love these groups just because, it's soulful, it's good music, I'm a soulful person. What do you think about society and the industry trying to cover up who the person is to just hear the music? Do you like that, or do you think that people should just accept it for what it is?
Nobody should ever be covered up, period, in my opinion. I feel like it goes back to what I was saying earlier, where like the business is trying to control the market and control, you know, they have their own risks and their own fears, and they're, you know, they're so worried about the money, and they're so worried about the feedback, and, you know, they're so worried about failure.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side of that are the fans and the people who love music that will love the music,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and will love the person
Mm-hmm.
based upon the music.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that speaks to a bigger issue of the industry trying to control the sound, right? Like even the new music, like the trendy stuff that's going on there. I feel like the past 10 years, the music industry has been so scared of originality that they, you know, that they, yes, that they,
so everything sounds the same.
And what is that doing? Like, what, you know, like, what is that doing? And so I think there's an issue there where the business and the art really need to come together. The artist needs to be the artist, the person. That's how the world changes. That's how artists truly can express their art and make a difference in the world and bring people together, which is what I'm all about. So I think that's a big issue that needs to be, you know, fixed.
And it's true, because it's so funny. Like, I'm just thinking about the 80s and how I really don't, as I just said, like, I don't remember folks saying that's white music, because it was just all music and it was soulful, and if you liked it, you liked it. And I remember when I was a little girl, you know, people are going to laugh at this, and some people might say, who is that? But Barbara Mandrell, she was a country artist. And I remember she had a show back in the day. This is, if you're, you know, a certain age, you remember this, called Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell Sisters. And it was almost like a Carol Burnett kind of song variety show. And as a little girl, I would sit and watch that and love it, you know. And when Olivia Newton-John was talking about let's get physical, everybody was getting physical. Mm-hmm. So I think it was less of a thing from my memory, from what I remember. I don't remember folks saying that you're black, you shouldn't listen to this, or you're white, you shouldn't listen to this. It was a whole, you just love the music and love the sound. So if I'm listening to all the groups and all the people that you name, I'm all for them. I'm fans of them. But for me, I guess it would be typical for me to like those groups, and shocking, like, oh, okay, well, Arika likes those. Okay, she must be okay for a white girl. You know what I mean? That's how people think. So I think it's up to us to retrain folks and saying, you know what, music is music. We can bring it together. Like, she can sing that song. It's okay. You know, and I want to just eradicate the things that, okay, if you're singing black music, you're trying to be black. You know what I mean? Have you heard that about you before?
Yes, in the business aspect of it. And then obviously there are people out there that are like hung up on that stuff. But, you know, as a whole, you know, like the whole of my supporters and people, it's all about literally where somebody's at in their life, to be honest. Because if somebody is just an overall good, genuine person, they want you to shine. They want you to have success. So it goes back to, like, you know, people who just want to hate just to hate, you know, you know, so that's kind of what.
And there's that. And there's that.
And there's that. Yes, there's always that.
I mean, you know, I could sit and talk to you all day, so I definitely have to have you come back. Tell me, because you, like I said, this is my sister, so we've been trying to schedule it so she can be on here. So I'm so glad that you had the time to do that. Tell the people what you're working on. I know you talked about the remake album and then another original Arika Kane album. So what are you working on now?
So I've been in the process of that for some time, and, you know, with the whole pandemic and everything, kind of the world kind of shifting and changing, my writing for my original album has shifted, because we're going through such a transformation. I want to make sure that what I put out there is, you know, very impactful.
I was going to ask that, like, that's good, because I was going to ask you how the quarantine and what's happening in the world shapes your music. So I'm glad that you're saying that. So you're kind of starting over in a sense.
Yes. And it makes sense because I kept running into hurdles with my writing, like before this happened. Like something literally just kept stifling me and stopping me. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, where's the creative process? Like, what, you know, I just didn't understand it at the time. But now I know that, you know, because I always work with a higher power when you know, creativity is creation. So it's not just me, it's co-creation with God. Like that's what music is. And so I was running into obstacles with that. And now I know why, because the world is changing. And I just want to make sure that I really put out like something very impactful to the world and not just like a regular album. I do obviously want to put out, you know, what my fans love, but I also want to create something that I've never done before, or even just more positivity, more inspirational stuff, you know, things that we need right now. And so, yeah, I'm kind of in transformation with that. I'm hoping to put one of the projects out in the fall of this year. And I just released recently in the beginning of July, I did a remake of Disney's Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas. And that was very special for me to do. It was inspired by my grandmother. And so it wasn't just like it wasn't like, oh, I just want to remake this. I was literally guided by my grandmother who passed in March. And
Wow.
I really connected with her spirit after she passed. And she was such a earth goddess. Like she was all about the beauty of the earth and animals and the land. And ever since I was little, she literally she like showed me the magic in all things. And I wanted to honor her because I felt like she was guiding me to do that, to redo that song, but also put out this song in these times where we need healing and we need to remember, you know, the beauty of nature and creation and, you know, why we're here. So it was a very special release for me. And so it's out, it's available, it's on all digital platforms. So that's kind of what I'm promoting at the moment.
Yes. What an awesome tribute that is.
Thank
you. Like what an
yes.
awesome tribute, because it's a beautiful song. And again, your voice. And I keep talking about your voice. So I want everybody to support Arika Kane. You see what a beautiful person she is, and her music is just a reflection of that. So that's a beautiful gift to give to your grandmother. Like, that's wonderful, Arika.
Thank you so much.
What's your mom think about that song?
She bawled her eyes out. She bawled her eyes out when I played, because she knew that's why. I told her the whole story of when I connected with my grandmother, and she was like, oh my God, that's going to be amazing. And I played it for her. She bawled her eyes out and was just like, thank you so much. Cause it's healing for her too, you know, cause it's her mother. And just the message is beautiful. Yeah,
it really is. And so are you, my dear.
Oh, thank you. And so are you.
Thank you. My sister for life, always, you know, and I'm just really moved, and I'm just touched, and I'm honored. I'm not a big name. I'm not a big star, you know, I have my lane. But for you to have faith in me, to come on my shows and to really support me in this manner, it means the world to me. It really does, sincerely. It does. Thank you. Well, and I will continue to always support you. I will.
Thank you. And the very same. And you're so welcome. Like I said before in our text, we are soul family. we were guided to each other for a reason, and we're here to support and uplift each other. So I will always support you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I mean, you know, it's just, you come by amazing people. That kind of restores your faith in people, if you will, and just the spirits and the hearts and just the connection of people, to see that there are genuine people still out there that want nothing from you. They want to help other people. They want to heal other people. And they're intentional about what they put out there, you know, for people's consumption. That you have, and the word of the day, I think, is integrity. That you have integrity, that you think about what you're going to do and how this is going to affect people, even with your newest project, saying, you know, you want to be mindful and sensitive, and you want to say more to help heal people. That really is a testament to who you are and really how you were raised. So good job, Mom.
Thank you, my love.
Good
job. Thank you so much. It's always so heartwarming, literally, when we connect. It really is.
It is. And I feel it. I do. Tell the people how they can feel some of your love. I mean, you're not going to get the same love that I get, but how they can, you know, get some of your music, hear some of your music, follow you on social media. How can they connect with Arika Kane?
Yes, well, all my music is available on all digital platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon, Google Play, Tidal, all of it. And you can also connect with me on Instagram at Arika Kane with an A, Twitter at Arika Kane, Facebook, and my website is arikakane.com.
And go to Hulu and stream some of the reality shows. You don't have to hear the whole thing or look at the whole thing. Just listen to her intro. Listen to Make It Happen. That will move you and pump you up. And then Here With Me. I mean, she has so many songs. I want you to check her out for yourself. Like she said, she's available where all music is streamed. All those podcasts, you know, I got a podcast too. I'm sorry. All of those platforms. But you can also listen to her on her voice on Hulu with the shows that I was speaking about.
That's right.
And then my favorite, I know that you have other songs, and I love the other songs, but Here With Me, I think probably because that's the first time I heard your voice. And that's the song that I sing the loudest in the car.
Yes, right. Okay, nice.
Yeah, but yes, she has other hits too that are just as amazing as that. But I thank you, everyone, for listening and watching Kendéll Lenice live right here on YouTube. That was Arika Kane. I hope you are a supporter of her just by listening to this interview and watching her genuine heart and hearing her genuine heart, that you will support someone like that. And remember, to all the young girls out there, the people that are trying to get into the business, you don't have to sell your soul for $1. You really don't. You can make it with integrity and character and standing on your talent alone. And you don't have to get in the bed with someone to become this, because what God has for you, it's going to always be for you. And it's going to circle right back around. You just have to trust and believe. Thank you so much, Arika.
That's right. Thank you so much, my sister. I love you.
I love you back. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Remember, you are a star, so don't allow anyone to dim your shine. Until the next time, God bless. Peace.